Mr. Speaker, and to my honourable colleague from Souris Moose Mountain, just to give him some background, I was an intervener in the National Energy Board process. I probably am the only person in this chamber who went through all 23,000 pages submitted by Kinder Morgan, and I actually found the one piece of paper on which they claimed to have studied bitumen, which was an unpeer-reviewed study done over a 10-day period in a tank of water in Alberta, in Gainford, Alberta to be specific. They took fresh water and stirred in salt. This is apparently now what the Natural Resources Canada folks are doing. So I want to assure members of this chamber that the science on what bitumen and diluent will do in the marine environment is best reflected in the Royal Society of Canada report, best reflected in the work of the Department of Fisheries Oceans, and is not reflected in the propaganda that we're getting. So I will leave it with this, Mr. Speaker. We know that bitumen mixed with diluent appears to float in tanks of water in Alberta, but in the real-world environment of our oceans forms oil balls and sinks. And I wanted to share that with the honourable colleague from Souris Moose Mountain.
For Souris Moose Mountain.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my honourable member for her comments. And my answer to that is the NEB studied this project. They studied it for 29 months. They approved it. Bottom line is we have a Prime Minister right now who's not showing leadership and who basically said approximately 1 year ago that it's time to phase out the oil fields. That's not acceptable.